The International Newsnet World Report is a national television news show available in more than 30 million homes. We broadcast daily real news the networks won't tell you. We are solely viewer-supported. That means you. You can donate at our website, inenworldreport.net. We hope you find the following interview informative and helpful.
Two months ago, Israeli warplanes bombed what Israel and the United States believed was a Syrian nuclear complex along the shore of the Euphrates River. The bombing was an audacious act of preemption, but also a revelation of an apparent Syrian bomb program. The Syrian government has denied the program and possibly even the strike. The Israeli government and the Bush administration have so far chosen not to speak publicly about the incident. To tell us more, we're joined on the phone by Joshua Landis, who is an assistant professor of Middle East Studies as well as the director of Peace Studies at the University of Oklahoma. Professor Landis is an expert on Syria. Welcome to the International Newsnet, Professor Landis.
It's my pleasure.
Professor Landis, was it Israel or the U.S. that bombed what Israel termed a nuclear facility in Syria on September 6th? And what weapons were used in the bombing?
Well, we don't exactly know. What we believe is that 3 to 4 Israeli jets, accompanied by others, that sat off the coast of Israel while.
Let me interrupt you. Could those others have been U.S. air support?
Well, there has been a allegation on Al Jazeera.net, the Al Jazeera, the Arab channel, saying that based on sources from Israel and some Arab sources, saying that American airplanes participated in this raid and that 2 of these airplanes were carrying small tactical nuclear weapons. Now, we don't know that. It's very hard to tell. These are all nameless sources. There's a big cloud about so much of this, the detail here. In theory, a bunch of airplanes went up the coast, sat off the coast of Syria. Several of them broke off, went inland along the Euphrates River close to the Iraqi border, where this site was, and bombed it. Using which weapons exactly, we're not sure. This was based on satellite photos that show, and we've seen some of the satellite photos, and they show this square building built near the Euphrates that has an outcropping building on the edge of the water, which is allegedly a pumping station. And the shape of the building, along with the pumping station, we are told by American people who've leaked this, that this looks a lot like the North Korean model for a nuclear plant that's based ultimately on a British plant. Now, they look similar, the outlines, or at least some of the measurements. The thing is, a number of engineers have said, well, look at this, this needs other buildings that are not built there. There is no military emplacements around them. All these other facilities, whether in North Korea or in Britain, that are on the same model, have defensive weapons around them, have other outcropping buildings that are used to support this. None of those are present there in the Syrian thing. So we're left to scratch our head. There is very little concrete evidence on this.
In every story, there's 2 sides. What do the Syrians say about what happened?
Well, the Syrians deny that this was in any way, shape, or form a nuclear program. The Syrian ambassador here, Imad Mustafa, said, look, we would be fools to develop a nuclear program we do not have ambitions to, we never have had ambitions to, and we're not doing it because, in his words, all hell would open up underneath us. And he said, look what's happened to Iran, North Korea. These are more powerful countries than the United States, or have more strategic benefits than Syria, Syria is a small country, a GDP of $20 billion a year, which is minuscule compared to Israel. It's on the border with Israel. We don't have the military might to defend, not to mention keep secret a real nuclear development process. And we're not so stupid. Now, obviously, many people think the Syrians are that stupid. And that's the call that's being made here.
Let's go back to the other side again. How could the planning for the bombing have been in so much secrecy, conducted in so much secrecy, and why has the Bush administration and the Israelis, why are they still keeping this such a secret?
This question has been sitting there for years. This is not for 4 years. This is not something that just got shown to us by Israeli intelligence and we had to bomb it immediately. This has been there, and this debate has raged, and Bolton, John Bolton, the ex-U.S. ambassador to the UN and a leading neocon, has been a forceful advocate of bombing this place.
He wrote an op-ed article in the Wall Street Journal just days before the bombing. And what did he advocate in that article? What was his public strategy that he was putting out?
His major argument was the Bush administration was about North Korea. And he said, this site proves, he didn't say this site, but because this was before the bombing, but he suggested that North Korea has been transferring nuclear technology to Syria. And this axis of evil, he was invoking the axis of evil, has been resurrected, and people who've forgotten about it should be reminded of it. And this proves that North Korea is not innocent, and that the Bush administration, which has recently signed agreements with North Korea and is bringing it in from the cold, which is gone to just today, where is American specialists are at the Yongbyon nuclear facility in North Korea, helping to disarm it. Bolton did not want this to happen. He did not want the North Korea deal to go through. He called this a U.S. surrender to North Korea. And so, in a sense, by divulging and by claiming that this site in Syria was a North Korean-built site with North Korean technology, he was trying to raise the alarm that North Korea was a proliferator, it was lying to the U.S., and it was spreading this nuclear technology that was going to go to Iran, he insisted. And therefore, the axis of evil is alive and well, and America was surrendering to it, and it should be bombing it. Now, the bombing took place. Now, he had been advocating this for 4 years. He said after the 2003 invasion of Iraq, Bolton had claimed that all the WMD of Iraq had been snuck into Syria and was being preserved there. And he continued this accusation for a year and a half, even after Secretary of Defense had poo-pooed it. Then a ship going from North Korea to Syria was stopped in Nicosia and searched for nuclear